I, 33F, feel like I'm competing with my future sis-in-law, 30F, and it's ruining my sanity. My fiancé proposed to me and shortly afterwards my fiancé's brother proposed to his girlfriend, let's call her S. People keep comparing our events. S saw my engagement party, asked me what I did, what gifts I give on engagement. Then for her engagement party she did everything similar and then topped it up. My family just gave presents to my fiancé. S's family gave presents to every member of my fiancé's family including her fiancé and my fiancé. My future in-laws are impressed that her S did so much, her gifts are so nice. Her engagement party was the best, etc. It makes me feel horrid. The problem is that my fiancé and his brother also intend to get married back to back. I will get married first, S will see everything and top it up. She will look more generous and I'll look like second best. I feel like I'm stuck in a competition and I'm losing. Because she asks me details and does the same thing, just adding on more things. It makes me cry because I was the girlfriend and fiancé first and I was the future in-law's favorite till she came along. Now they praise her more as everything she does is better. I feel jealous, insecure and not enough. How do I get over this? Too long didn't read. My fiancé's brother got engaged a few months after my fiancé and I did. Everyone compares us and the new fiancé is winning because she sees what I do first and tops it up. It's making me depressed. Every time she asks you something about your wedding, just tell her some made up shit. Yes, I was thinking this. And then be like, oh, we changed our minds at the last minute if she asks. Pretend it's going to be much smaller and cheaper than it is. Elope. End the competition by not even allowing it to start. Your boyfriend must be feeling a little pressure too. That sucks. When your events are being discussed, follow up with just how I wanted. They can compare all they want, but if your moments and events are just like you wanted or dreamed of, they can't beat it. You don't have to let them make it a competition. You didn't get Aunt Sarah a present exactly as I wanted it. Smiley face. Don't give her details about anything. Just tell her she has to wait like everyone else. And above all else, you and your fiancé should be enjoying yourself, and looking forward to your life together. Congrats. I have a friend who knew this girl who would copy all of her stuff. My friend eventually make a completely fake wedding page she shared with the girl, but on the side planned her real wedding. They got married with close dates and I think the other girl got married first. My friend attended and saw so much shit that she had fake planned that the girl copied. Then at her own wedding, the girl was completely stunned that my friend's wedding was so different. I don't necessarily advocate for that much effort in diversion, but throw her off the scent or don't even engage. It's not her business what you plan for yourself. I, 28F, have a friend 29M who vomits his emotions on me with 6+ page texts out of nowhere. How do I set proper boundaries about this? Talk to this friend of almost 2 years pretty much daily, but I'm noticing a pattern when I get a bit busier, most recently, work, school, and the loss of my grandma. He will vomit all of these built-up emotions or assumptions. Neither you or anyone else cares about me. No one cares how hard you try, only what you do. No one to support me, and I don't want you to feel obligated to either because we barely talk as it is. We talk almost daily. In fact, we had been talking a few hours before this latest rant. I've tried to be there for him in more ways than one. Things like helping him navigate budgeting since he says he wants to move out from his mom and roommate, listening, trying to get him to work out with me, journal his feelings, etc., introducing him to new hobbies. I would never bring these things up to him as proof or anything like that. I am just not sure where this is coming from. When I ask how can I help, he gives nothing back. The last time he dropped one of these feeling bombs was about 2 months ago while I was on a camping trip with my other friends. I apologized if I had made him feel that way, but also told him that I didn't like him listing all the things he had done for me, and it felt like I was being guilt-tripped, especially when I don't keep a tally of the things we do for each other after he brought up to remind me. I actually don't ask him for anything now that I think about it. You made up in your head that I tried to guilt-trip you you about the things I do. I've never tried to manipulate or guilt trip you, ever. I've only did things for you off the love I have for you and never expected anything back. This is just a brief snip. The text messages were multiple pages long of rants about so many different things. I want to be his friend, but this latest one is making me feel like maybe we just have two different communication styles and I feel exhausted. It's just a lot. Even as I'm writing this, I am now questioning what I am getting from this too long didn't read friend I talk to daily goes from being completely fine to emotionally vomiting all over me. I don't want him to feel like he can't talk about his feelings, but this way of doing it just feels so icky. How do I set a proper boundary around this and still be a good friend? Why do you want to be a good friend to this person? I suppose he is a good friend overall, but I legit don't think he sees this behavior as toxic. A small part of me feels guilt at reaffirming his insecurities by not really wanting to be friends with him anymore because of this. The other, larger part, doesn't feel like it's my responsibility to teach him that this isn't okay, and it pushes people away. Trying to balance, I guess. This sounds like the things that would float around in my head when I was severely depressed. If that's the case, nothing you say or do will help. He needs to speak to a professional. He is getting something out of these interactions. Your reassurances are what he's seeking and you are giving them to him when you respond. When he starts in on these tirades, have a canned response. This seems cruel, but do not offer him any reassurances in this canned response. That's what he is after. When he gets it, he knows what he's doing is working and he keeps doing it. But if you say, I think you may be depressed and I think you may benefit from speaking to a professional about these feelings, you are offering help without feeding his self-esteem issues. When he starts, use your canned response and then ignore him completely until he stops. Use the exact same wording every time. Rinse and repeat. He'll stop his tirades eventually. Please don't feel obligated to be their friend just so you can disprove their thought process about not wanting to be friends. Sometimes when people talk about not having anyone around or wanting to be friends, there's a reason. They're most likely pushing people away by how they act. What they were doing was guilt tripping you, and though they may not be able to admit it, doesn't mean it isn't true. It's a way to get people to pay attention to them and feel bad about what they're going through, though it might be their own fault. It's like that. My current roommate is like this, and it's so draining because in the end nothing you do is enough because their problem is with them and not you. I did this to a friend when I was freaking out about a boyfriend a few years ago. Friend said, hey, I don't think I have the capacity for this right now and the way you're talking to me is kind of overwhelming. I stopped right away. Maybe try that before dropping the friend like everyone is saying. I had to just cut ties with a friend like this. He was extremely codependent. It wasn't fun anymore and I found myself rolling my eyes when I saw his name on caller ID. It's seriously draining. I eventually just stopped responding to messages. My neighbor started bringing us dinner every day. How can we get them to stop? The neighbors in question are an older married couple, 50-60F. and 50-60M, and we've known them since we moved into the neighborhood about 10 years ago. They said they were not doing anything special for the holidays, so my mother, 50F, thought we should share some of our Christmas dinner. I, 19F, helped her bring some of the food over, and a few hours later they brought over some of their dinner. We thought this was a kind gesture and left it at that. Recently they have started bringing over dinner every single night. At first we were really appreciative, but it is starting to get to be too much. We've tried to get them to stop bringing food over so many times. I'm on a diet. We can't possibly fit that in our fridge. I just made dinner. We usually don't eat, insert random food. Nothing has worked. They would always come up with something. Salads are good for diets. You can eat it later. I think, insert family member, would like it. What can we do to get them to stop giving us food without offending them? They are truly kind people, but their kindness can be a little suffocating. And their food is not very good. Too long didn't read. The neighbors keep giving us dinner and they sidestep every excuse we give to not accept the food. Help. I am also non-confrontational, and in this situation I think I would try to bring it up casually and ask, so why do you guys bring us food so often? Or something like that, and see what they say. I would probably tell them that the food would go to good use somewhere else and that you don't need/want it. Just pretend you're not home when they show up with it, tbh. Hopefully they would get the memo. Tell them you appreciate what they're doing, but that you would like them to stop making you food except on special occasions. You need to ask them to stop directly. They sound like they might just be lonely. Yeah, we thought so too. They're both unwell and one hasn't been able to work for over a year. Here's the thing, it is not kind to ignore people. They think they're kind people because they're doing something that abstractly would be considered a nice thing to do. But disrespecting boundaries, no matter how trivial, is fucked up behavior. So there's that. But basically you have two choices. One is to just refuse it. Literally don't even touch it when they try to hand it to you. Politely say we appreciate the gesture and no thank you. You don't have to give an excuse or explanation. Just repeat no thank you. You can maybe say something like, it was a special occasion over the holidays but we aren't going to do this every night, or whatever. Be polite but firm and don't get sucked into a back and forth about it. This risks them being whiny babies about it and getting their feelings hurt, but whatever, they're grown-ass adults who are being pushy and rude. Or you just take the food and throw it away. If it sucks and you don't want it and you don't live near people who are hungry/on the street, I could literally walk down the block and find someone to give a plate to, but that's not everyone's situation. Then just suck it up and throw it away. Oh, I never even considered giving the food away. Don't live in an area with many homeless people though. I suggested this to my brother and he said he thinks the food is too bad that they will just throw it back in our face, lol. None of us are very confrontational, so we may just continue throwing it out. And their food is not very good. Way to bury the lead. Just say no. I'm sorry, we have more than enough food. It's just going to end up in the trash. Maybe soften it with it just ends up going to waste.